Hello and welcome to the Crafty Ninja channel. For tails, I used a 17-ounce tumbler and I'm covering it in a coat of liquid Sculpey to give something for my clay to attach to, and then I applied some ultralight clay to create the shape of his head and his body. Now that it's baked, I'm going to take some rolled out clay and I'm going to wrap the entire cup. To create his nose and mouth, I start with an oval shaped piece of clay and I start to blend it in right at the base of his head. Then I take a smaller piece of clay and I create it into the shape of his nose and then I blend it in. Next I take my needlepoint tool and I create the mouth. Here I am creating the tufts of fur on the side of his face, and I just take 4 rolled out pieces of clay and blend it in right at the side of his cheek. And then I repeat on the other side. Next I'm going to take some oval shaped pieces of clay and create the eyes. Here I'm just adding a little extra clay to bulk out his chin a little bit. I didn't show this part for some reason, but I did place some ultralight clay on the bottom of my cup, and I'm taking this 12 gauge armature wire and I'm sticking it right through the clay, and then I'm going to bake it before I proceed to the next step. Now that our clay is baked, we are going to take some ultralight clay and wrap it around those wires to create the legs. Once I baked it, I wrapped the legs in a layer of Super Sculpey, and I'm taking these small pieces of clay and I'm starting to create the shoes on his feet. Next I'm taking a thin rolled out piece of clay and I'm wrapping it right above his shoe to create the sock. Next I am taking some ropes of clay and I'm placing it on the top and bottom of his sock to create the wrinkles for his socks. Then I do it the same way on the other side. Here I'm taking another rolled out piece of clay to create the shape of his belly. This is going to be the white part, and I'm adding some little tufts of fur on the sides. For the ears, I cut out these triangle shapes and I just wrap them on both sides with some clay. Once I have the clay blended in, then I try to curve it just slightly to give it that ear shape. Once you're happy with your ear, then you're going to place it right at the top of your tumbler on the sides of his head and blend it in. I would recommend using liquid Sculpey to kind of help attach it to that baked clay. Then you'll do the same to the other ear. So I decided to paint the whole tumbler before I added his arms, just because it was going to be difficult getting into some of the crevices after his arms were in place, and I just give the cup a nice white base coat. Once your white paint is dry, then you're going to start adding your orange. Depending on the color orange that you use, you might need to do 1 or 2 more coats. Once your orange and white are dry, then we're going to start adding our arms, and I just take some snakes of clay and place them right below his head and take it right to the top of his feet. Then I just take a ball of clay and start creating the hand, and then small ropes of clay to create the fingers. Next, we are going to take another rope of clay and wrap it right around his wrist for the top of his glove, and then we are going to repeat on the other side. Here I'm just creating some lines to indicate the wrinkles in the top of his gloves. For his tail, I just crumpled up some foil and I wrapped it just so it will go around the side of his leg, and then I covered it in clay and placed it right at the back of the cup. Once I'm happy with the placement, then I take some little pieces of clay to create these little tufts at the ends of his tail. Then we're going to do the same thing with the other side of his tail. Now we're going to paint his eyes this blue color, and we're going to paint it right on the inside of his eyes. Also, don't forget to paint his arms and his tail orange and white. Next, we are going to paint his nose black and also his mouth. Next, we're going to paint the black part of his eyes. And be sure to paint the little white dots in his eyes. And here he is, our finished Tails tumbler. This was a custom order. Somebody asked me to make it, and I don't know if I would have thought of making this if they didn't ask. I'm so glad that they did, because this was definitely fun for me. I grew up on Sonic, and Tails was my favorite, so I was happy to make him. As always, remember that if you are making this on a tumbler, to seal with an FDA compliant epoxy or an epoxy alternative like Crystalac. If you enjoyed watching me make this and want to see me make more nerdy and gamey related things, like and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on all my new designs. Have a great day, and remember to stay crafty.